Hey everybody, this is Joel Toppin, and I've got a package in the mail here from Consim Press, distributed by GMT Games, and I thought I'd give you a look inside the box. First of all, I should point out that the box is a little bit smaller in terms of width than most of your GMT game boxes, so you can see it's not a very tall box, but it's incredibly sturdy. This is a really heavy-duty box. Similar stock to what you'd find with the Commands and Colors, Napoleonics. Yeah, you could hurt somebody with this box. You definitely could make a shank out of it or something, so let's be careful, kids. Alright, so inside the box we have dice, D6s, D10s, and we've got a rule book, full color rule book. It's pretty easy. It's a procedural game, so you can pretty much just break out the bits and work through the rules kind of as you move things along on the player mats. So it's a very easy game to learn. It's not a very complex game at all. It's got just enough decision making to keep it interesting for me, but it's really a great role-playing experience. It's a lot of fun. So I think you'll enjoy this. So you got this here. The whole thing weighs in. It's got an index even. Something we probably should have done with Navajo Wars. But let's see, it's got, what, 24 pages of rules. So, you know, this won't take you long to learn at all. In fact, we're going to do a live demo of it here in just a couple days. So that's the rule book. Let's see what we got here. We got charts. There's charts galore with this game. So you got a couple charts here. All these are cardstock, semi-gloss. It's a nice stock. I mean, it's nice and thick. So you're going to have lots and lots of charts. Okay, and then you have submarines. Lots and lots of submarines. Double-sided for the different kinds of boats, different periods of the war. For the most part, I think the game only takes you up through the earliest part of 1943. So, sorry about that. I had to move the camera a little bit. So for the most part, these are very similar to one another, but also it'll show you the historic patrols that type of boat would go on. So got a bunch of boat displays, a couple more. There's a total of 8 submarines, I think, in the game. All right, and then you have the combat display, which you're going to use for your attacks on individual ships and convoys, and then the whole procedure for combat is outlined right there. Just one-sided. Got a patrol log sheet that you can use to track your adventures on the high seas in your iron coffins. And then we have a set of counters that are nice and thick. These are much thicker than I was expecting. This is the same thickness that you get with, say, Navajo Wars, the Coin Series games. This is nice and thick counters. This is not a very counter-intensive game. You really aren't going to use a whole lot of these. The counters you're going to find yourself manipulating the most are going to be your ammunition counters, your torpedo shots and ammunition for your deck gun. A lot of the other stuff is going to be things that you're going to use not all that regularly. Perhaps the range counter here. A lot of blanks on here and a lot of extras of stuff. I mean, there's no way you're going to need that many torpedo shots. So there's the counters for you. Good stuff. In fact, you can probably punch about half of these. And it looks like they punch pretty easy too. You probably punch about half of these and still get rolling in your games. So there you go. That's the counter sheet for you. The counter art's fantastic. I really like the counter art, and it works really nice on the displays. Can't wait to get this guy on the table. And that's another thing I should point out, table space. You're only going to use one submarine boat mat, and the combat mat. That's the table space requirement right there. Is this right here, and this, and a handful of counters. Your patrol log to keep at your side. That's really it. And you're not going to use the patrol log a whole lot. You're just going to use it to track what ships you sink. And if you're like me, you're not going to sink all that many of them. So you're not going to use that patrol log very much if you're having the kind of luck that I have. But this is a great game that you can take on a trip with you. If you're on the road or something, it's easy to tuck in a suitcase. If you're stuck in a motel room, not a lot of table space required here. You can go through an entire patrol in 5 to 10 minutes. So great game. You can play through the entire war, and it's going to take you several hours to work through all those different patrols, assuming you survive the entire war. But again, if you're like me, that's just not going to happen. So it's a fast-playing game. Doesn't take up a lot of table space. I think you'll like it. Had a great P500 price, so there you go. That's the Hunters. I think it's the second game from Consim Press, and it's a very impressive package. I'm Joel Toppin. That's what comes inside the box.